The Gallagher Shots podcast is sponsored by Tyre Spot, the North East's leading tyre supplier with branches across the region. Tyre Spot don't just do tyres, they cover everything from servicing to wheel alignment. They can handle every aspect of your car's maintenance. For more information, visit tyrespot.co.uk. Enjoy the episode.
All right, and welcome back to the Gallagher Shots YouTube channel for another match preview where we turn our attentions to the Carabao Cup once again for our home game against Spurs. I am your host, Joe, for this one, and joining me are Kris, Dean, and Andy. Thank you, boys, as ever, for joining me on this one. Lots to talk about after what has been a pretty successful week for the Toon. As we go to another cup competition that isn't the Champions League. It feels like it's been a while since we've talked about this one. We are the title defenders once again, looking to preserve our title and keep that gold Carabao Cup badge on the side of our shirts. Now, Kris, I wanted to start this one by talking about, I suppose, the priority list for the club. Now, it seems a bit daft given how well we did in this competition last season, but the form in both the Premier League and the Champions League has, I suppose, perhaps dictated a bit of a conversation here in how seriously we do take the Carabao Cup this season, given the squad depth that we do have, which is, I will say, is a lot better than what it has been in recent seasons. But how seriously do you think we are going to take our title defence of the Cup, given the league form and given maybe how much we need to prioritise elsewhere?
I think we'll just have to look at who our manager is. It's Eddie Howe. Eddie Howe takes every single competition seriously. Yes, there might be a couple of changes, but I don't think we're at the point where we're going to purposely throw away likes of a competition and progression to the next round. I think we'll fall from that. I think we'll go with not necessarily the strongest side, which we can feel, but I think Eddie will probably go with the strongest side he feels can win the game based on obviously changes which Spurs will inevitably make as well. But yeah, I think with Eddie as manager, every single competition is a priority.
Yeah, no, I completely agree with you, mate. As Eddie always says, it's a game-by-game basis. He'll look at what team he can put out and, you know, realistically, what's the strongest one that could win the game. So no surprises there. He's always said as much. But Dean, like in the early stages of these competitions, Eddie Howe has typically rotated quite a bit and given some of the lads that haven't had a lot of minutes the opportunity to prove themselves. What kind of changes do you expect them to see? Especially, I would say, in the, you know, forward section. Like the wings have always been a talking point. You know.
Yeah, I think for me, you're going to see Big Willie starting straight away. I generally think, I just think what Mara's minutes need to be managed because, yeah, Big Willie, Big V and Big Willie. But I think for me, with you're going to have to see him play the game because, like I say, with Votamora, you have to give him some break, give him a break. You know what I mean? And I think as well, it's a big opportunity for Alanga to really come in the squad and hit the ground running. So I think that's the two I will see happen. But what I'll be interested in seeing though, I think the back four's have to change a bit as well. Because I think you've got to bear in mind, Trippier's he's 35 years old now. We need to manage his minutes. And I think if he gets injured, it could lead us quite short. And it does worry us a bit, if I'm completely honest with
you. Yeah, I mean, that back four, since Shez came back from that concussion, we've said, is it time for a bit of change? And maybe give one of them a break. We did see Botman come off with that head injury. So it looks like, I don't know. I don't even think it was Fabian Schär with this voodoo that's happened on him. I think it's just that right centre back position where whoever sits there is just due a head injury. But obviously, Schär did come back in for the second half against Fulham. Time for a start for him, do you think, Andy?
Yeah, I think so. I think he could count himself a bit unfortunate to be out the team, really. But obviously, Chow's come in and he looks like absolute revelation. He reminds me so much of when Botman first started and he looked like the best centre back we'd ever seen. Chow's now taken up that mantle. But Schär's still, we always said he's a top quality operator when he's at his best. But obviously, I think he got tired a lot last season, and we really saw that in his legs. We saw the best and worst of him last season. So I'd say yes, time for him. I agree with Dean. I think defence is the most interesting part in terms of rotation, because in an ideal world, we'd have Hall and Tino as the starting two, and you'd rotate out for, Burn and Trippier or Kraft or whoever. So I think we might see Kraft in. I don't think we'll see Kraft in and maybe someone like Alex Murphy. I think we might have to play one of the sort of big dog defenders, whether we keep Burn at left back and maybe Chuck Shearing alongside. I mean, is Lascelles even around anymore? But I think we might have to. I really don't want to chuck a young'un in for the sake of it. I think, like we said, like both of them have said, it needs to be a team that can still win the game. And I think the squad still isn't quite there in terms of, two equal 11s of equal strength or whatever it is Hal likes to say.
Yeah. It's funny because there's an argument to be made to make up to, 6-7 changes to this side, given it's the fifth round of the Carabao Cup. What is it?
Well, 16.
Very early on. But we are playing Spurs, and they are in pretty decent form. And we're going to get on to Spurs in a little bit, but there's still a massive argument, Kris, that we are going to have to put out a pretty strong side. Now, okay, let's start from the very back. You reckon Ramsdale's coming in? Because he's looked pretty sharp when he's come in, but then Pope's been on such good form. What do you reckon?
Yeah, I think it's a given. I think it's a given that Ramsdale will come in, and rightly so. I think these competitions and the cup competitions are the best chance for goalkeepers to come in. He's a second choice goalkeeper and basically showcase what they can do, because they're never going to get a chance in the Premier League unless there's an injury, suspension, or whatever it may be. So I think Ramsdale he done well, really well in the previous round. So I think that's a no-brainer, and I think it's just a given with teams that tend to play the second choice goalkeeper. We've done it over previous years as well. Obviously, there was a whole drama about how well Dubravka had done on the run up to the final, and obviously Pope comes back in for the final against Liverpool. But yeah, I think Ramsdale starts. I think, like you've all addressed, I think that the questions are over the likes of the defence and what we can possibly do, because, like Andy mentioned, that at the start of the season, you think, we're squad really good and we've got loads of options. But then I think, obviously, as we've picked up injuries, especially to the two full-back positions, which are crucial, then you're relying on Dan Burn to come back on that left-back position and Trips, like we said, can he play that many games in a week? I think
no.
Then once again, the centre-back positions, like, it's probably, yes, it's going to be Fabian start. I don't think anybody's got any doubt about that. Will be Fabian. But then do you put Botman alongside him if he's ready to play, or does Chow play alongside him, or do you go with somebody younger? Or even like we said, Lascelles. Like Lascelles can do a job. You know what it is? Every time I say Lascelles' name, I feel as if I'm doing a disservice to him, because he's still a decent defender. He's not a bad defender, and I feel as if I'm throwing myself in there when I say Lascelles. We've got options, but I think it's going to be making players fit in certain positions rather than it being their designated spot, which really is a concern for me. Spurs attacking lineup, are they going to go with strong? God knows. I think we've got options. It's just I wouldn't like to say who at this moment in time it would be starting.
You've also got to consider, well, again, you've got to consider the opposition as well, because we're not playing like a Bradford City this time. We're playing Spurs, who are in pretty decent form, and chucking someone like Lascelles in, yeah, okay, it might be in a cup game, but that's a lot to hang on his shoulders, given how little football he's played.
Joe Spurs' away form is unbelievable at the minute. Yeah. I think the last 5. Yeah. I don't think they've lost. I think they've won 4 and drew 1 in the last 5 away fixtures. They're unbelievably good on the road.
Well, that's it. To me, I reckon he's going to go for a centre-back pairing of Chow and Cher, the same one that finished the game against Fulham. I think Dan Burn at left-back, there's no other option, so it is inevitable. But then Burn has shown that he can play these 2-3 game weeks without much issue. The right-back situation, yeah, I do feel like Trippier, it might be one game too many for him, because he already has been playing like 5-6 games in the last 2-3 weeks. So it may be
all those games as well.
And that's it as well. Is that you've got to really protect him, especially with the couple of months we've got coming up in the Champions League. So Kraft was on the bench. He's a good player and he's a decent player.
I like Kraft. I like him.
He's all right, man. I've got any problems with him. Right. Okay, we've spoken enough about the defense. Midfield. I think this was a perfect game for Tonali to come back in and get his match fitness back up, isn't it? He's looking like he's gotten that bug out the way. So it's great for him to come in. Also, Ramsey as well didn't start at the weekend, was replaced by Joe Linton in the starting lineup. But once again, he's a brilliant player that's coming back in and needs that game time up. So I reckon between Tonali, Bruno, and Ramsey, I think that's probably going to make a midfield three. I don't think we're going to see Willock in the starting 11. He's not really in form. I mean, yeah, I think it's fair to say that Eddie's just not really trusting him at the minute.
No. I think for me as well, Jacob Ramsey, if I think you can see the talents there, and we'll have to start getting his fitness up a bit now, because I do like Joe Linton and I love him. I think he had a better game against Fulham on Saturday, but I think for me, I wish Ramsey played that game for Fulham, because I feel like he would have brought a bit more to the game, because he's just electric on the ball. He's honestly, the pace he's got in our midfield now, that's what we needed on Saturday. I thought when I watched it, but I think against Spurs, Ramsey would be ideal. And I think you're right. I think that midfield is going to be pretty much Bruno, Tonali, and Ramsey. And you never know. He might throw a spanner in the works, put Miley in there. You just don't know. Eddie, how do you know what I mean? You just don't know what he's going to do. He might rest Bruno, give him a bit of rest. But yeah, I think it might be that side in midfield.
Yeah, I mean, Miley's been canny since he's come in. He looked. Yeah, he had a couple of moments of maybe a bit naivety, and he was a bit slow to make decisions against Fulham. But overall, did well. You know, I wouldn't have any problems with whacking him straight in. But we'll see.
I think, Joe, just to stick on Miley, I think what I realised against Fulham, I think we after the Benfica game, we all sat here saying, he was fantastic, which he was, but I think that was probably blessed with the performance from Benfica as well. They weren't great. But against Fulham, he tried to play the ball out a few times, and the passes were nowhere near the players that he was aiming at. And I think Spurs on the other side of that, if you're going to give them those opportunities, they will hit you. Whereas Fulham just weren't. They weren't great, Fulham. And that's my concern. I'm not saying he's a bad player, far from it. But I think he's still not at that point yet. I think Eddie done in one of his post-match conferences, I can't remember which one it was, might be in the Benfica one, to be fair. And he was asked the question about if Miley is learning from Tonali and Bruno. And Eddie said, well, Miley feels as if he's up there with them, and he's there to compete with them, which he is to a certain extent, because his name's in the squad, but he's far off those levels at this moment in time. I think, yes, he does need to lean on them, and it's quite a naive performance at time, and I think that's what we saw in certain moments against Fulham. And I think if you want to progress, I think maybe you do have to risk those that are fit, with Tonali being fit again.
I'm completely with you. He's still a young kid, and it's a lot to put on his shoulders to carry that midfield three. He's still a good bench player coming off, and we've now, with Ramsey coming back, and we've got that strength and depth to allow Miley a bit more time to develop. It's not like Joe Linton's injured or anything. He should be on the bench as well. And he did take a bit of a knock to his ankle, didn't he, at one point? So
he went down a couple of times. Yeah,
he did. Yeah. So hard to say, isn't it? It's a quick turnaround. Now, before we jump into Spurs, I just want to highlight the front line again, because Dean, you said that you expected Big Willie to start over Big V.
Yeah.
Kris, do you agree with him? Do you think that's a given? Because if we think about it this way, right now, yeah, he still has done class when he has come on, because he's been a burst of energy. He's went against a tired defense, but is his decision making good enough to be starting against a Spurs team that are flying at the minute? And also, when you consider who's going to be flanking either side of him, you're probably having a Langer that's still trying to find a bit of confidence. But then conversely, you do have Barnes, who has been class. Or you could argue that he's maybe also a player that's better coming off the bench. So, first of all, do you see them three starting? Or
I don't think I'm the correct person to answer this question, because I'm still well and truly on the fence with Asula. I don't know if I love him or if I hate him as a footballer. I just don't know. I think he's one of those players, and you know, you saw against Fulham, and we've seen it before when he's come off the bench. that he's dangerous because he just doesn't stop running for the ball, which we all love to see. It's just starting those games. You're not really going to have that energy starting a game. It's we're obviously chasing the game out the weekend to get the winner against Fulham, and it worked because a couple of times he managed to nick the ball and get in dangerous positions. Of course he did. I'm not convinced. I'm really not convinced if he is the choice to be leading the line, whether that's in a Premier League game, if it's a cup game, whatever it may be, if it's really preseason friendly. I don't know. I think this is why you're so disappointed that Wissa picks up this injury, because in hindsight, probably what would have happened, Wissa would have been starting the season, and these sort of games were probably the one where Big V would get his chance to perform. But luckily for him, he got through in the deep end. He's been fantastic ever since. I don't know. I would rather pass it on to somebody else that is probably more complimentary towards Asula than myself.
Well, I think with Asula, it's just like I don't think his role in the team has really changed. Like, there was obviously this talk about him working with Graham Jones and coming on quite a lot. And I mean, I wouldn't say he's necessarily a headless chicken anymore, which I think he was. He looked completely out of his depth in his early days. But his role in the team is still come on for 5 minutes to waste some time, and maybe just as a final gung ho when you're desperate. That's all we really use him for. I don't have any faith really that he's going to go up to being sort of a reliable second choice striker. But Kris is completely right. He's a maverick, and he does bring an energy. And I don't know whether it's because he doesn't know himself what he's going to do, or what. But I mean, you can't knock his confidence. He's clearly a really confident, energetic lad off the pitch as well. But you know, this is if you're Eddie Howe, you're saying in these situations, look, you're a bit part player at the minute. We're really happy with what you're doing, but now's your chance to really sort of say, you know, I'm an elite footballer. I'm not a joke, you know, because he is still a bit of a joke at the club. But so I would like to see him, mainly because Big V can't do it. But like, this is it though, isn't it? Like, I don't have anything against him. I think he's a good pro, and but we clearly signed him as like a bit part player, and he's been sort of forced to play at a high level. But I think he's definitely got talent, and he's got the sort of the mentality for it. We just need to see it more consistently from him. But this is a chance for him, and I agree out wide. I think Alanga and Barnes will really suit his game. It's three quick lads, play really direct. So yeah, we've got to give the lad a go.
They have to, because I think, mate, if Big V gets injured, we're knackered. We have to manage his minutes.
It's a good shout to Big V.
That's the biggest concern. Like, if he goes down this Wednesday night, and then we've got a Premier League and a Champions League game, we've got no out and out proper striker.
Oh, we got Gordon, man. He's a striker, apparently.
We are definitely.
Don't even.
He's really good up front, isn't he? He's really good up front. But it does concern me. I think for me, what worries me this season is getting more injuries, because we've already seen it. It's already starting to happen, creeping in a bit now. And I think I would look a couple of years ago with all the injuries that are taking place. I thought, we can't have this again. So I think I wouldn't even involve Big V unless he's necessary, in my opinion.
I think it's quite telling as well with how
Voldemar gets injured.
Yeah, I think it's really telling with how what he was saying the other week about Wissa as well, returning to fitness, said that he needs 6 weeks. Like, he always he needs a preseason. He said preseason is 6 weeks, so he needs that. So maybe Dean's correct on that one. You can't risk it. You can't risk Voldemar getting injured.
Actually, I know you just joked about that, Dean, but Gordon could actually play up as that number 9. You know,
I wouldn't be surprised. No. I'd say that though. I wouldn't be surprised.
I actually wouldn't. I wouldn't actually. No, I wouldn't, because I feel that Eddie would trust Gordon. Thinking about it, I think Eddie would trust Gordon as starting centre forward over Asula, and then have Big V come on about 65, 70 minutes or something. I could see it. I could. Go on.
I'll throw a spanner in the works, right? I think this is what I think is what might happen. You play Alanga on the left, Murphy on the right, and going through the middle. That's
Alanga on the left.
Yeah. I mean, he has done it before for Forest, hasn't he? He's Hudson. But like, I think for me,
feels like a lot of change though for Eddie to throw in.
And I think it would be very, very harsh on Barnes as well. Do not give Barnes a chance.
That's true. Impact sub, though, isn't he? And I know I don't want you to label a player like that, but he's better off the bench sometimes. He just comes on.
Yeah, but this is what the cup games are for those opportunities for these sort of players to show what they can do.
And also try telling Harvey Barnes that he's a better off the bench. You know, he won't agree with that. He'll say, I want to start every game. So, right.
True.
Enough talking about Newcastle. Andy and Dean, you've both been doing a little bit of research into Spurs. So, Andy, I think you said about injuries. So, do you want to talk us through what the state of play is with their squad at the minute?
Well, we've just been talking about injuries with us. They've been absolutely decimated. I actually forgot about some of their lads that are injured. Do you remember James Maddison? He plays for Spurs. He's been injured forever. Wild.
Oh.
But yeah, if you reel off some of the names, Basuma's injured, Ben Davies, although he's just permanently injured, isn't he? Dragosin, Kulusevski, Maddison, they're both long-termers. Romero, who's obviously club captain now, Solanke, who's just had surgery, and Udogi, who I think it's not that serious, but again, he could be out. So when we were looking at the team that they put out in the last round of the Cup, it doesn't look like they rotated that much, which I'm sure we'll get onto, but they're probably similar to us, that they don't really have much of a choice. But with Thomas Frank as well, he's still not been there that long. He doesn't know his squad that well. They have been completely decimated, but we're seeing with him that he's doing a job with a limited squad because that's what he's done at Brentford for 5 million years, however long he was there. So I don't think they'll be too worried about it. I actually think Spurs going into the later part of this season, in the next season, I think they'll be a real force. I think Frank's really good coach and they're going to have loads of good players coming back and, you know, a better chief exec at the club as well who'll help him out. So, yeah, decimated, but I don't think we can take them lightly at all.
No,
He's such a good manager, Frank. Like, really, really good manager. And I think
he's annoying, though, isn't he?
He is annoying, of course he is, but I think he's one of those managers. And when Eddie was rumoured to obviously be flirting with the England job, and I know obviously that was coming from the England camp, bro. And that's the manager that I would have probably been looking at, thinking, right, we go to Brentford and bring Thomas Frank in, because I really like him as a manager. Like he just seems like he wants to play football that all fans want to watch as well. He just goes for games and
Brentford Stadium last year there was more goals there than anywhere else in the league, wasn't there? I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, he improves players, doesn't he? Like, look, he did with Wisser. He made Wisser into like a number 9. I think when Wisser joined, I'm sure he was on that. Wasn't he like a winner? He wasn't actually a striker when he first joined Brentford. So you made him an out-and-out goal scorer. You know what I mean? So he does improve players.
Made Ivan Toney in international as well.
Exactly. You know what I mean? With like a limited budget, though, he's getting all these players like Brian and Bembo and making them superstars. So he does improve players and really does. He is a good manager. He's class. And Spurs are mint now. They actually are really good to watch. If you watch Spurs now, they're brilliant.
Not very Spursy anymore, though.
No, not at all. That's upsetting. It's very upsetting because, like, for me, my biggest concern is Mohamed Kudus, because I think that's in my opinion, when I've watched Spurs so far this season, he's been their best player. And I guarantee you now they'll play a strong side against us on Wednesday night, and I guarantee you Kudus will start because Dan Burn left back, because Kudus sometimes plays on the right or he plays as a number 10, and Kudus will be at Burn all game.
Who do we think is going to start up front for them? Because Richarlison came on from the bench, didn't he? Today, actually. So he came off the bench.
He didn't start the last cup game either. I think he came on as also again on the last cup game.
That Kolo Muani started. I had no idea it was at Spurs.
Yeah.
They've made some wild signings. Last round of the cup, they played that Tell, who they signed as like an emergency signing, really, when the whole squad was knackered last year. So, I mean, the front three against Doncaster in the last round was Brennan, Johnson, Tell, and Odebear. That was weakened, but I think Dean's right. I think we'll see maybe Kudus and Johnson, and then one of those two up front. I mean, Richarlison, I don't want to see him play because he's just one of those annoying players that everyone boos him and hates him, and then he scores.
Yep.
So I don't really want to see him.
It feels like that would be the case. Yeah. I think it will be a strong side, which goes back to what we said before about the need for us to put out a side that I think will very much compete against him. In the crowd is going to be massive as well, I reckon. You know, it's going to be a Wednesday
might actually
night.
Put Van de Ven up front. He's just scored a brace.
Yeah,
he has. I've just seen that. Bloody hell. Were they 2 headers or something? Or what?
No.
Did you see it?
I didn't see the game, but obviously if they've kept Everton quiet and Everton been on top form this season, haven't they? We go to Everton's ground and it was 3-0 in the end, wasn't it? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I will say that if we do manage to get past Spurs, then that is another big dog off the books for the next round, obviously, and it just helps us massively going into this, because even though we do have the Champions League, this competition has a massive place in all our hearts now with the heroics of last season. And it's something more to strive for, isn't it? The nice thing is, we've got that squad depth. We've just spent a good 15, 20 minutes chatting about who could potentially start in almost every position. The fullbacks aside, because of the injuries, I really just love how we're in a position where we genuinely don't have a clue what Eddie Howe's going to do, which is so good to see. And once like Wissa comes back in that, it's in Hall and Tino, which I heard they're back on the grass now. What a time! Like I don't think we'll have a stronger squad as a Newcastle team in 20, 30 years. Like it feels like we really could put out a completely new starting 11 and would be all right, which is brilliant.
I think Eddie said the same, didn't he? After one of the recent games, he was asked about his squad, if it was a better squad than what he had last season. And he said, on paper, yes, but it's hard to tell so early on in the season. So we'll just need everybody fit again. That's all that is. And I think once everybody's fit, you can get the opportunity to rotate.
100%.
True. Very true.
Aye. Right. Shall we hand over to Dasmo to do his ref watch for the game? Take it away, Dasmo.
Hi everyone, welcome back to Ref Watch for the Spurs game in the EFL Cup 4th round. Referee for the game will be Kris from Lancashire. Last seen on VAR for our 2-0 win against Nottingham Forest on match day 7 at the beginning of the month. And he also refereed our 1-0 win against Wolves in the Premier League all the way back on match day 4. It's his first outing in the EFL Cup this season, and there is no VAR in the competition at this stage, so it's just Kris Kavanagh and his team of assistants in the ground on the day. Away the lads.
And we're back. Now, before we get into the predictions, I just want to give a quick plug to say, if you haven't already liked the video, please do. It helps us massively. Subscribe and become a member for just $2.99 a month. You get early access to loads of content and access to the Telegram group as well. I've also got to say that we are being really active on our Instagram as well. So if you aren't following us on Instagram, we've just launched Battle of the Kits Tournament Edition, where us lads are putting out our choice of kits, and it's going to be basically a knockout round to see who wins, and you guys get to vote who is the winner. So make sure to check that out. We have a new round every single day, so we're keeping it fresh. Okay, predictions. I really don't know how this is going to go, so I'm just going to go to you, Kris, mate. I hope you guys can sway me in some ways. Okay, Andy. No, Kris, go on. What do you think?
I want to be positive. I really want to be positive. But then the performances that we've seen recently in the Premier League haven't been great. Yes, we got 3 points against Fulham, but did we deserve all 3 points at the end of that? I think there's an argument to that. I think it's going to be an absolute disgusting watch, a disgusting game of football. It's a Wednesday night. It's probably, it'd be bloody freezing. And I don't know. I think it'll probably go down to penalties. And I think we've got some absolutely phenomenal penalty takers in this team as well. So I think we'll steal it on penalties.
Big fee on just for that. Get them on. It's 90
minutes
straight penalties, isn't it?
Yeah, no extra time.
There's no extra time or anything. So
thank God.
Big fee, 89th minute substitution. Okay, so sorry, did he say would get through on pens?
Yes, correct.
Lovely. Andy?
I want to say the same in terms of it's going to be an awful game. It's going to be cold and horrible, and everyone will want to go home after 10 minutes. To be honest, but we're a positive channel. Remember, I'm just in a mood about the Battle of the Kits, to be honest, because it wasn't my choice at all. It was like my 5th choice. But
you're doing well. You're doing well against Kris, because Kris has got the.
You're doing well.
You say that I voted for Chris's kit. It's far better than mine. But no, I agree. I think it'll be tight. I'm on a bit of a roll with my predictions at the minute, but I think penalties is close as well. What I really don't want to happen is getting knocked out when you look at the teams that are still in the competition. You've still got, and this is no disrespect to them, Grimsby, Swansea, Wrexham, Cardiff, Wickham. There's some teams in there that you can get. We're potentially semi-final bound if we win this. If we get a good draw, although we don't ever get a good draw, do we? So I'm gonna agree. I'm gonna say penalties are a really tight defeat. I'm just not that confident in the second string at the minute. But yeah, we're a positive channel. Remember.
Listen, you can't expect to predict a winner for every game, otherwise, like, we'd win the league and the Champions League and everything. So
Right.
you've got to be a bit realistic. But Dean, what do you think, mate?
Do you know what is right? I'm going to stay
Win?
positive. I'm going to say a 1-0 win, but I'm going to say Alanga scores the winner in the 60th minute.
Mate, now you're being a bit unrealistic.
Yeah, you've got to have fit. Like Ken Lasso says, you've got to believe, man. You've got to believe. And I think, for me, Alanga will score. I'm praying for the lad. I just think he'll do his confidence a world of good. And I think if we score 1-0, I'll take that. It'd be a awful game to watch, but 1-0's fine by me.
I think the first goal probably wins the game, wins the tie. To be honest,
100%.
Yeah,
quiet.
I think it'll definitely dictate a lot. To be honest, I mean, I think if Wissa was fit, I'd be a lot more confident with this. But I've seen us without Voltemada up front, and I just can't see where the goals would come from. Whether that's Asula starting or whether that's Gordon starting. And I agree with you. I don't think that Voltemada will start this because of how much he has played. So with that, I think we're going to do a lot, but Spurs might just be too clinical. I reckon I'm going to say we're going to lose 2-0, to be honest, which I really hate doing. I'm normally quite optimistic. I'm normally quite optimistic in the predictions, but I just, again, it's just that
Asula that much.
I love Asula, man. I love him. I think he's absolutely lush, but I just
the only positive person's the Mackham man.
Oh, I didn't start that yet.
I think what we'll have to do, just to put a positive spin on it, I think if you look at the teams that we came up against last season, like they were really difficult teams. It was all top 6 teams, wasn't it, at one point? So we've done it before. Like, of course we have. We can't do it.
100%. I know. I think back like the first few games of this season, where I mean, even to be fair, even as close as like Brighton away, like where we've just not quite clicked in that. And I think if we just make so many changes, especially taking the one big strike force in Voltemada out the side, if that happens, then I'm yet to be convinced that we can put the ball in the back of the net. We can do a lot right, but we'll see. I mean, you may well start and it'll be absolutely fine, but you know, we've got to manage.
What I would like to see,
it does go to pens. Who are we picking? As if you had to pick someone to take the last penalty to win it?
I was going to actually say Bruno. Weirdly enough,
I'll say Trippier. Trippier for me.
Eh?
Trippier. What you say? Are you saying Voltemada?
The last one.
No, because I'm a firm believer that you whack that. Yeah, you put your best lads.
Yeah, you score your first 3.
Sack that off. Like, I just have your best lads there. So you have Voltemada, you probably have Gordon, Barnes. Cher would be decent, and Bruno. They'd probably be top 5. Depends who's on the pitch, obviously.
Again after penalty.
Pope if he can throw it.
I was going to say, I was just about to say that. Just Pope scoring with his hands.
Just hoist it.
What I do just want to mention as well. Just because Andy's brought it up as well, with Grimsby still being in the cup as well. Grimsby play Brentford, and I would love for both of ourselves and Grimsby to get through, because Grimsby has a striker. You might remember him from the first one. He had a goal ruled out, an offside goal ruled out, which was 100% onside. He's called Cameron Gardner. It's number 22. He's a Newcastle United fan. Nice. I used to sit next to him in the East Stand when honestly, from probably when he was about 4-year-old up until I moved into Gallagher. So I sat next to him probably about 9-10 years. And now he's a striker for Grimsby. So it'll be lush for him to get a tie at St. James's Park.
Well, we already had that lad for Bradford, didn't we?
I was going to say, he scored, man. He scored the worldie, didn't he?
Yeah.
So
I like the little moments like that where like actual fans get to come back and play at St. James's Park.
So canny, man. Yeah, be lush. Well, on that positive note, I think we'll end it there, because I think we've covered quite a bit, lads, haven't we? Good luck with the weather on Wednesday, however it is, because I'll probably wrap up warm, because it's going to be a cool one. But yeah, let's see what happens. I really do hope we get through, because that journey last season, in the one from even every single season that we've been under Eddie Howe, pretty much, where we've had the Carabao Cup run, where the quarterfinals up to Chelsea the season before, we won it. Then we had Man United at the final the season before. It's a great it's a great competition that does get sneered at like quite a bit, which I find baffling because it's arguably harder to win it than the FA Cup in some respects. And what a time it is to get to Wembley. So let's hope we can continue on and get this lads back to Wembley.
Aye.
Another beautiful header, eh? Reese, well, we'll end it there. I've been your host, Joe. I've been joined by Kris, Dean, and Andy. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to subscribe to the Gallagher Shots YouTube channel, and we'll see you in the next one.